initial International Day of Peace and Amnesty Month, I pray for peace and stability to prevail in all the countries in Africa and the rest of the world, where there is political instability, conflict, and violence. Let us also observe a moment of silence to remember all those innocent people who lost their precious life due to the natural disaster that took place recently in Libya and Morocco. May peace prevail in Africa. May peace prevail throughout the world. May peace prevail on earth.
Thank you, my friend, for that beautiful prayer and invocation and blessing for all of us, for the people of Africa, for the world, and for those suffering in Libya and Morocco. I'm David Gershon. I'm the CEO of Empowerment Institute, and I'll be your host today. I'm also one of the 3 partners launching this event. So this is to celebrate the African Amnesty Month and US Peace Week, that we launched Peace on Earth by 2030 in Africa. I want to offer my deep gratitude to our partners, African Union Economic, Social, and Cultural Council, or ECOSOCC, and United Religions Initiative Africa. We'll be hearing from them shortly. You just heard from the director of United Religions Initiative Africa, Ambassador Musi Hailu. And we are going to start our launch event and celebration of the possible with my dear sister, Kristen Hoffman, will be weaving her beautiful music and voice throughout our event. She is a Peace on Earth by 2030 music ambassador and was the team leader of Peace on Earth Team 1. We call it Poet 1. She was my team leader. She did a great job. So she knows the game from the inside out and has created beautiful music to support us today and move us and weave us in between the words and the heart and the mind. So Kristen, whenever you are ready, we'd love to hear from you and enjoy everyone, her deep, beautiful music, and allow it to take you into harmony with yourself and the world.
It is such an honor to be here with you all today, celebrating Peace on Earth by 2030. And I'm going to begin with a song called At the Core. And this song says, as we look out at the world, there's so much that seems like it could divide us. But when we go deep within ourselves, within our own humanity, we realize that the virtues that we all hold dear are really connectors, and that there is so much more that connects us than could ever divide us. So as you're listening to this song, just feel that connection to all of your fellow humanity, and remember that at the core, we are love, we are light, we are compassionate and caring collective of incredible beings. When the hate comes, let there be love. And when the night falls, let there be peace. And when the dark cloud over our heads releases its grasp on our hearts and our souls, may we remember we're whole, connected at the the tears fall, let there be peace. And when the violent fist of the lost ones crashes down, breaks our hearts, chains our souls, may we remember we're whole, connected at the core. One people were whole, connected at the core. Soul to soul. And when that fever starts to flare, we're gonna shake it down, shake it down, shake it down. And when those guns are in the air, we're gonna lay them down, lay them down. And remember we're whole, connected at the core. One people were whole, connected at the core. Soul to soul. One people were connected at the core, the core, at the core, connected at the core of it all. Of it all. Infinite
Kristen,
blessings.
I bless you, my dear sister. Thank you for remembering that we are all connected at the core and helping us remember that. You don't need to remember that, you know that, but we do. I do. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
So while people are joining, just take a moment to tell us where you're from, what part of the continent or the world you're from. Put your country, your name, your organization, so we can feel connected with everyone. And we are going to now start with our more formal part of the program, and that is that we get to hear from the African Union, ECOSOCC. Let me introduce our first speaker, who is a remarkable person. His name is William Carew. He's the head of the Secretariat of the African Union, ECOSOCC, which stands for Economic, Social, and Cultural Council, to offer our opening remarks about this bold venture that we are embarked upon. He's an African thought leader and a true advocate of civil society organizations across the continent, and having a voice in the political deliberations of African Union policymakers. Those of you who are here from Africa and representing different CBOs and different NGOs and just yourself as a citizen of Africa, he's your man. We're honored to have you open this special day dedicated to this ambitious vision of peace in Africa. I look forward to hearing your remarks, sir.
Thank you very much, moderator. Your Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guests, fellow advocates for peace, let me take this golden opportunity to recognize the esteemed presence of some dignitaries in our midst. Ambassador Churchill Monono, who will be joining us shortly, and he happened to be the permanent representative of the Republic of Cameroon to the African Union. Let me also recognize Ambassador Mosi Ali, Regional Director, United Religion Initiative for Africa. Let me also recognize Mr. David Gershon, the Chief Executive Officer, Empowerment Institute. And I am honored to also recognize the ECOSOCC presiding officer in the person of Mr. Khalid Budali, the presiding officer for the African Union Economic, Social, and Cultural Council, and technical expert within African Union ECOSOCC, who has been the brain behind working with our colleagues, our partners, Dr. Jonathan Sandy, who happen to be the chairperson of the African Union Peace and Security Cluster Committee. Esteemed delegates of various civil society organizations, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to welcome you all to this event as we launch the Peace on Earth by 2030 in Africa, an initiative that has the potential to transform Africa and pave way for a brighter, more peaceful future. This initiative seeks to engage citizens across the continent, a call to action that involves embodying unitive actions and a vision for peace on earth in Africa by the year 2030. In our world today marked by conflict, division, and strife, the pursuit of peace has never been more critical. Peace is not merely the absence of war. It is the presence of justice, equality, harmony in our lives and communities. It is a beacon of hope that guides us towards a better tomorrow. The African Union Economic, Social, and Cultural Council has set a bold and inspiring vision, commemorating peace on earth in Africa by 2030 with our esteemed partners. This is not just an aspiration. It is a call to action, a call for all Africans to come together and be the change we wish to see in our continent. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the foundation of this initiative lies in a concept known as the game. The game challenges us to embrace unified action that can lead us towards lasting peace. These actions are not easy, but they are essential. They call upon us to reflect on our own behaviors, to address the root causes of conflict, and to foster a culture of peace in our society. By embodying these actions in our lives and communities, we can create the peace on earth zones that will serve as the building block for a peaceful continent. The African Union, through the Economic, Social, and Cultural Council, is committed to creating a culture of peace continent-wide through strategic partnerships with peace organizations, community-based organizations, local and national governments, and cultural icons. It is through collaboration that we can harness the collective strength needed to overcome the many challenges that stand in the way of peace. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, one crucial aspect of this initiative is its alignment with the African Union Silencing the Gun initiative. By organizing an annual Peace on Earth by 2030, an African conference that offers up the Game and Peace on Earth zone as part of the solution set, we can further the mission of silencing the guns and bring about lasting end to an armed conflict on our continent. Moreover, the Peace on Earth zone can play a pivotal role in helping countries in political transition and political crisis move forward towards peace. These zones provide transformational tools that can be tailored to the unique needs of each community. It will further the Ubuntu philosophy through modeling and shaping or sharing this unique cultural heritage of Africa with the world. Ubuntu teaches us that we are all bound together in a web of mutuality, that the well-being of one is intertwined with the well-being of all. By embracing Ubuntu and living out its principles, We can be a shining example to the world of what is possible when we come together in unity. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and colleagues, in conclusion, let us stand together hand in hand and work tirelessly to make this vision a reality. In doing so, we not only create a better future for Africa, but we also offer a beacon of hope to a world in desperate need of peace. As we celebrate this month as the month of amnesty, I want to take this opportunity also to congratulate all of us for our significant contribution in ensuring that the world remains peaceful. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Very beautiful. Thank you for your vision, for your inspiration, for your clarity. So let me now tell us a little bit about this adventure that we're embarked upon. Peace on Earth by 2030. So a little background. Firstly, I want to again thank our partners, African Union ECOSOCC, of which Mr. William Carew is the head of the Secretariat, United Religions Initiative, Africa, which has our wonderful partner, Musi Hailu, who is the ambassador and who is the leader of so many initiatives to engage the religious community. You are role models in our world. So let me speak to this aspiration. Peace on Earth by 2030. We call it a moonshot for humanity because nothing this bold has ever been tried before. And where better than Africa, the cradle of civilization and a place which truly values peace, to lead the way to a new and more enlightened civilization for humanity. So as you allow yourself to receive the thoughts and the inspiration of the day, open your imagination and allow yourself to enter into the space of possibility today. In 1986, at the height of the Cold War, we passed the torch of peace around the world. The first Earth Run, in partnership with the United Nations Children's Fund, UNICEF, engaged 1 billion people through the media, 25 million people on the ground, and 45 heads of state in 62 countries, including 8 in Africa: Burkina Faso, Cote d'Ivoire, Ethiopia, Kenya, Nigeria, Tanzania, Uganda, and Zimbabwe. For 86 days, wherever the torch of peace went, all wars stopped, and the world was united as one. Thousands of groups around the world came together to cooperatively make this happen, this audacious goal. We had limited communication and connectivity and very few social networks. Everything had to be scraped together piecemeal. But the world was ready then, and so it happened, in spite of these limitations. The world is even more ready now. We discovered something quite remarkable. You might call it the physics or the metaphysics of change. There was so much contraction at that moment that it was a forcing function that pulled us into this vacuum. Contraction needs expansion. We are in such a moment now where the world is ready, where Africa is ready, where humanity is ready for something like this. And I can feel us getting pulled into that vacuum again. We're not proposing a 3-month experience of peace on Earth, but a 7-year plan to actually create peace on Earth by 2030. Our most profound dream for ourselves. Our mantra is John Lennon's Imagine song, which has become the global anthem. He sings, "Imagine all the people living life in peace. You may say I'm a dreamer, but I'm not the only one. I hope someday you'll join us and the world will be as one." This grand adventure for humanity's future is based on the 7 strategies that enabled the world to come together in common cause to bring a torch of peace around the world. These strategies have evolved into 7 actions we call the game. We heard a little bit about the game already in the opening remarks from William Carew. The game is combined with robust social change tools carefully honed and tested in hundreds of cities with millions of people over these ensuing 4 decades. Add to this that we now have global communication connectivity, we have deep social networks, and a profound yearning for a better world, and the conditions for the impossible to once again become possible, I believe, are in place. If not now, when? If not us, who? We can do this. Empowerment Institute, the organization that I co-founded and I'm the CEO of, creator of the first Earth Run, in cooperation with over 50 dedicated partners, are leading this global initiative. We're doing this by inviting people to play the game and practice its 7 unitive actions. These evolve into peace on earth zones that reweave the social fabric of a community, transforming that which separates us into that which brings us together and learning how to cooperate for the common good. You'll learn about these Peace on Earth zones a little later. We have representatives from 4 Peace on Earth zones across Africa, Morocco, South Africa, Kenya, and Ghana. They'll speak a little later. Community by community, year by year, over the 2020s, we will witness the dawning of peace on earth and ushering in of the golden age civilization prophesied for humanity. That's our vision. We've been piloting this game over the past 4 years, and here's the impact to date that we have achieved. We have 47 partners promoting the game to their members around the world, 4,563 people. Thank you, Carlin, for precision, have played the game across 13 countries and 7 Peace on Earth zones. They've taken 34,386 actions and befriended, which is one of the actions, 14,067 people. We estimate through the actions and the ripple effect of the actions, the game has already touched the lives of 8,750,000 people across the world, and we're just beginning. Today, we are launching something that we hope will take this to a whole other level as we start to inspire and empower the people of Africa to lead the way. Let me share a little bit about the, shall we say, social change theory of change that this represents, so you have an understanding of how we think about change itself. Yes, we may be dreamers, and we're not the only ones, but we also have some strategy and insight into how change works. So let me talk about this notion called second order change. So the world from the social change point of view is a function of many social systems. That's how we organize civilization, economic systems, healthcare, political, financial. Those systems are deeply stressed now. When a system becomes deeply stressed for any number of reasons, it starts to become unstable. When it becomes unstable, it starts to break down and become unmoored from that which keeps it in place. And it becomes marginally functional or dysfunctional. We see many social systems like that right now across the world. But when it becomes unmoored, it can also move to a higher level of performance and social value. We call that second order change. I wrote a book on second order change called Social Change 2.0. And what we need right now to transform our world are second order change solutions, of which the game, the Peace on Earth zones, and the Peace on Earth by 2030 movement is one such intervention. Let me briefly compare second order change, the first order change, which is command and control, passing laws, financial incentives and disincentives. So engaging people through paying them or penalizing them, awareness campaigns, and protest. Those are incremental at best when they work, and they are, unfortunately, not up to a second order change challenge that we face right now. They're needed, they're not sufficient. So this is based on this model. And if you can't pay people to change, force them to change, tell them to change, cajole them to change. What's left is either apathy or despair, or empowering people to want to change. Empowering people to want to change needs a compelling vision and the tools to enable that. That's the foundation of what we're doing. A vision so compelling that people want to go towards it, and the tools to enable them to achieve it. The game, Peace on Earth Songs. It's based on 7 principles. This is really what you might call our theory of change. This is what we believe allows this to be able to work. That's the context that we're working within. First is that Peace on Earth requires the transformation of people's hearts and minds. It comes from people's hearts and minds. We can change hearts and minds. We have a path forward. Our second premise is that Peace on Earth emerges from people and communities, and then political leaders follow. Again, we, civil society, are the driver of change, which gives us the necessary agency. Our future well-being is dependent upon us. The third principle upon which this is built is that Peace on Earth is a learned competency of 7 unitive practices that can be cultivated by individuals. This puts the locus of power within the individual. Our fourth premise is that Peace on Earth, the game, teaches us these 7 unitive practices in a playful way and in a community setting that establishes them as new social norms. We know from our pilots, people are eager to learn these practices and apply them in their lives and communities. You'll hear more about that later from our Peace on Earth Zone leaders across Africa. Also, being gamified and done as part of community makes it fun and inspires people to do the actions. We change by watching others. We are social creatures. The fifth principle is that Peace on Earth starts with the individual, but comes to fruition when people in a community practice these enlightened ways of relating to one another. At this point, the community becomes a Peace on Earth zone. And people are proud to live in these communities. Everyone wants this experience. They just haven't known it's possible. It's pretty simple. It builds on our core empowerment model of the shift from pathology to vision, which is focusing what people want and how to move them towards that, and not what they don't want. We're attracted to a positive vision, not very much to a negative vision. As each community experiences the well-being of its residents, the sixth principle, and the community at large from a Peace on Earth zone, the other communities are naturally attracted to these benefits. And diffusion of Peace on Earth zones occur organically and effortlessly. Again, you'll hear about this. That's going on right now in Kenya and some of the other Peace on Earth zones. And lastly, Peace on Earth is an inevitable outcome when people in communities experience the individual and community well-being offered by the game and Peace on Earth zones. We have the power to create peace on Earth by 2030. So let me say a little bit about Africa and why we're doing this in Africa. Over the last several years, we've tested this model in 4 parts of Africa. I mentioned earlier, Kenya, Ghana, Morocco, and South Africa. Based on the strong and enthusiastic response of over 300 people, ranging from students to tribal leaders in rural and urban communities, they took more than 2,500 peace actions and achieved multiple transformations. They've influenced tens of thousands of people through these actions. And we believe, and Africa in general can serve as a role model to the world of bottom-up change for peace driven by its citizens. Our belief that Africa could be a role model to the world on achieving and modeling peace has been strongly reinforced by the enthusiastic response we've received to this initiative by our fellow partners, African Union ECOSOCC and United Religions Africa. So let me now pass the torch to my friend, my partner, and my co-conspirator. Let me actually just do a quick check-in because of time. And I am wondering, Raj, if you could just give me a heads up. I have not had a moment to look whether the ambassador has arrived. And if so, then we can invite him to speak next. Is the ambassador here? I know he has a tight schedule and wanted to honor that schedule.
Yeah.
Not yet. Okay, so we'll continue on and you'll let us know if he arrives and we'll make sure we invite him to go. So let me come back to then my friend, Ambassador Musi Hailo, Regional Director of URI, United Religious Initiative. A word about Musi. As soon as he heard this vision and what we had accomplished to date, it was an immediate yes. He then went about mobilizing his considerable network across Africa, including ECOSOCC. I'm immensely grateful for his partnership. I'm inspired every time I speak with him by his deep commitment to peace and a better world. He's a man of vision and a man of peace. You heard from him in the very first moment when he offered us his blessings. My friend, my colleague, Ambassador Musi Hailo, please share with us your thoughts about this initiative.
Zoom.
Thank you.
Yeah, Zoom kicked him out and won't let him back in. So he's going to speak on WhatsApp through mine.
WhatsApp. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Miranda. Let me speak on WhatsApp. I'm following.
Go ahead. It's you now.
Thank you, Miranda. Thank you so much, my dear friend David. Can you hear me?
I can hear you great.
Okay, I hope the participants are also hearing. Dear colleagues, on behalf of member organizations of United Religions Initiative from diverse religions, spiritual expressions, indigenous traditions and cultures in Africa and the rest of the world, I want to present you greetings of peace and blessings. At the outset, I want to thank all of you for joining us for the commemoration of the International Day of Peace and Amnesty Men's in Africa. United Religions Initiative is a global interfaith organization with consultative status with the United Nations Economic and Social Council. And we have also memorandum of understanding with the African Union, and we are working closely with ECOSOCC and CEDAW and the African Union at large. The main purpose of URI is to promote enduring daily interfaith cooperation, to end religiously motivated violence, and to create culture of peace, healing, and justice for the earth and all living beings. URI Africa welcome and support the initiative of the African Union proclamation made in 2017, September of each year, to be named as Africa Amnesty Month for the surrender and collection of illicit small arms and light weapons, to encourage widespread support for efforts to stop smuggling of illicit small arms and light weapons, as well as advance the African Union silencing the gun in Africa by 2030 effort. As you know, each year the International Day of Peace is observed around the world on 21st September. The UN General Assembly has declared this as a day devoted to strengthen the idea of peace. The theme of 2023 International Day of Peace is Action for Peace, our ambition for the global goals. Our sub-theme for Africa event is Ubuntu in Action for Peaceful Coexistence. Why Ubuntu? As you know, Ubuntu is African philosophy, and the meaning is, I am who I am because of you. The Ubuntu philosophy articulates important values as mutual respect, human dignity, compassion, solidarity, and consciousness. Ubuntu is all about team spirit while joining hands. The message of Ubuntu helps us to build high-performing team of reinvigorating the culture of working together for the common good of all. Dear colleagues, at a time when war, violence, natural disaster, and conflict often monopolize our news cycle, the International Day of Peace is an inspiring reminder of what we can do together for peace to prevail on earth and to take practical action by standing up against violence and act of hate speech, and by spreading compassion, kindness, and hope in the face of conflict to support the effort to create a more equitable and peaceful world. The International Day of Peace is also a time for reflection, a day when we reiterate our belief in non-violence and call for a global ceasefire and to resolve conflict through constructive dialogue. It's a day when people everywhere in the world observe a moment of silence to honor those killed in conflict and the survivors who live with daily trauma and pain. It's a day we bring our collective voice and effort for peace to prevail in the world. It is with this in mind, Africa Union Economic, Social and Cultural Council and Empowerment Institute are organizing the launching of the Peace on Earth by 2030 in Africa initiative on the occasion of the commemoration of the International Day of Peace and African Amnesty Month. The premises of this initiative is that, as it's highlighted very well by my colleague and brother David, peace on earth requires the transformation of people's hearts and minds, emerge from people and their communities, and represent a learned competency of practice that can be cultivated by individuals. The aims of Peace on Earth by 20 initiative in Africa are to create a culture of peace continent-wide through strategic partnership with peace organization, community-based organization, local and national governments, and cultural icons. Create peace zone that reweave the social fabric of their community and enable cooperation for the common good across all AU member countries. To engage citizens across Africa through the game and embody its 7 innovative action in their lives and communities. Serve as a continent-wide unifying voice, aspiration and vision for peace on earth by 2030 in Africa. To utilize Peace on Earth zone to counter violence and extremism. To empower people to express their voice through taking effective action in their communities. To promote human dignity through the teaching of the Golden Rule, which says, treat others the way you want to be treated. To promote the Ubuntu philosophy of Africa, which says, as I mentioned earlier, I am because we are, through honoring, modeling, and sharing Africa's unique cultural heritage with the world. And to further advance Africa Union vision of creating an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa, driven by its own citizen and representing a dynamic force in the global arena. On this special occasion, I want to call for each of us to commit ourselves to live according to the teaching of the Golden Rule and to take a personal pledge for peace and non-violence, to deepen our solidarity with one another and to broaden the space for common action and reflection among various faith communities and social movements on the critical issue of peace, reconciliation, compassion, dignity, and social justice, and the preservation of the environment. We need to combat hatred, prejudice, xenophobia, intolerance, and stereotyping on the basis of religion or culture, as this represents a significant global challenge to peaceful coexistence. On behalf of UR Africa, I also want to call upon member states of the African Union to include in their respective country school curriculum peace education starting from kindergarten. Each member state also to formulate and apply national policies against hate speech and honor human dignity. Finally, let us be an instrument of peace and the embodiment of the positive change we want to see in the world by living according to the spirit of Ubuntu. May peace prevail in our heart, in our mind, in our family, in our community, in our respective country, in Africa, and throughout the world. May peace prevail on earth. Thank you.
So beautiful, so articulate. Ambassador Musi Hailu, partner, brother, friend, co-conspirator on this great adventure. Thank you. Thank you for these great words. Sorry we can't see your face, but your spirit shined through so wonderfully. So it is my honor to now have a chance to introduce our other co-conspirator, Jonathan Sandy, who's the Peace and Security Cluster Chair for the African Union ECOSOCC. I want to pass the torch to him. A little about him. He's a dedicated leader with a deep commitment to peace. He's very skilled in working with civil society organization and wise in the ways of influencing social system change. I've had the good fortune to work with him over the last bit of time on this adventure. We're here with African Union ECOSOCC because Jonathan has helped us to really integrate so beautifully with this important organization. I'm grateful to have you as a partner on this epic journey that we've embarked upon. Please share with us some of your thoughts about the Peace on Earth by 2030 in Africa initiative. Jonathan. You are muted, Jonathan.
Yes.
Perfect.
Now I am on. Yes, thank you, David. And let me take this opportunity to say a very big thank you to you and your team as well. But I wish to deliver just a few 2 to 3 minute statement to complement our effort. The Excellency Ambassador Churchill Emmanuel Monroe, the permanent representative of the Republic of Cameroon to the African Union, and the current chair of the Peace and Security Council of the African Union for the month of September, which we describe as the Africa Amnesty Month for Silencing the Guns. My PO, Khalid Boudali, of the ECOSOCC organ, Mr. William Kiru, head of our secretariat in Lusaka, Zambia, Ambassador Mosil, and who just with thanks for the beautiful statement, our regional director for the United Religious Initiative in Africa, Mr. David Gaston, our COE, Empowerment Institute, and founder of the Peace on Earth by 2030 initiative, and the game architect. And I wish to also thank your humble wife and staffs, other colleagues, distinguished guests from the AU ECOSOCC Peace and Security Cluster and the General Assembly members. I particularly wish to thank you all for coming. It is with great pleasure I wish to welcome you all to this fourth event in a series in commemorating the African Amnesty Month and the Week of Peace across the globe. We are very grateful in the AU Peace and Security Cluster and particularly ECOSOCC in general for this initiative, the Peace on Earth by 2030 in Africa. We consider this as a joint effort that is evolving thanks to EI, the United Religious Initiative, and ECOSOCC for coming together to plan and organize this wonderful webinar. I am convinced that this peace initiative is one of its kind, with a community and grassroots focus, what in Africa we call local peace initiatives. It is being launched at a time when the African Union Peace and Security Council adopted, just like in July, on the 21st of July, at its 1163 meeting held at ministerial level, adopted a communique titled Community Responses to the Security Challenges on the Continent. This is a groundbreaking communique, first of its kind. The African Union has recognized that a community-driven approach is the way to go in terms of addressing the structural root causes of conflict and social cohesion building. So we are very grateful that this communique also reemphasized the determination of the African Union to silence the gun in Africa by the year 2030 in order to create the conducive condition for the realization of the AU vision of an integrated, prosperous, and peaceful Africa, driven by its people and representing a dynamic force in the global arena, as well as the AU Agenda 2063. The communique also underscored the importance of addressing the growing multidimensional threats to peace, security, and development in Africa, including climate change, armed conflict, as well as natural disasters, which affect the living conditions and livelihoods of our communities. The minister strongly condemned terrorist attacks on communities, as well as defense and security forces, and stressed the need to ensure the security of lives, properties, and livelihood of the people, and to strengthen their resilience to the negative effects of several and multifaceted crises affecting Africa. They acknowledge the significant contribution of communities to the efforts towards the attainment of peace, stability, and development in Africa, particularly with regards to the building and consolidation of social cohesion as a guarantee of lasting peace and prevention and resolution of ongoing and later conflict. The ministers also acknowledged the critical role of traditional leaders and leaders of faith-based organizations, youth and women, especially women mediators in peace processes, and the contribution of civil society stakeholders in the identification of early signs of threats to peace and security in Africa. In this regard, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, they request the African Union Commission to develop an AU strategy for promoting community responses to conflict, peace, and security on the continent, including peace research institutions, and to intensify multi-stakeholders dialogue and enhance the traditional and legitimate role of religious and customary leaders in Africa in all peace initiatives. It's therefore, they further acknowledge that the critical role that civil society can play in this regard. It commends ECOSOCC for its relentless efforts in encouraging the participation of civil society organizations and grassroots in the promotion of peace, security, and stability in Africa, and emphasize the need for mobilizing adequate support for ECOSOCC to enable it to be more effective, for it to more effectively discharge its mandate. It is within this context, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellency Ambassador, that I see the Peace on Earth by 2030 in Africa initiative as an effort to complement, support, and contribute to a community-driven approach and responses to prevention, peace, and peace building, and enhancing social cohesion as envisaged in the communique of 1163. I am convinced that the Peace on Earth by 2030 initiative is here to stay. It will help our efforts to consolidate community responses to security challenges we face on the continent. And I hope by the year 2024 and beyond, we can collectively work as partners with Empowerment Institute and the United Religious Intersect to collectively expand the number of peace zones across our continent from 4 to at least a minimum of what we would desire as we move along. On that note, let me conclude, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, David and all presiding officer, that we thank the African Union ECOSOCC Secretariat and for the logistics, and our colleagues, Marina and others who have put this together and in a timely manner. I hope as we move ahead in the months to come, years to come, we will achieve the desired goals as intended, not only by 2030 silencing the gun, but at least we should be able to use the Peace on Earth initiative as a platform for enhancing dialogue and building peace and social cohesion among our society and Africa living in peace. So thank you again, and it's a pleasure to be here as always, David.
Jonathan, thank you. I also want to just take a moment to recognize that this hasn't been an easy moment for you. There was a major loss in your family, and so I send my condolences to you, and we're all grateful that you've taken the time to be with us in spite of this loss. Thank you for these thoughtful words, these words that help us connect the dots, one of your gifts between all the policies and the opportunities to put it on the ground with people and communities. So thank you so much for that. So we have another person now that I get to introduce from the African Union ECOSOCC. Its presiding officer, its president, Khalid Moudali, and he is from Morocco. I was mentioning to him offline that we have one of our 4 African Peace and Earth zones located in Morocco. I also want to offer to him and the people of his country our heartfelt condolences for their loss of life and suffering from the earthquake. Having worked in Morocco, I know how resilient the people of Morocco are, and I'm sure you will rise even stronger. Thank you for your support of this, and I look forward to your remarks. Khalid, please. You are muted. You need to unmute. There we go.
Yes, thank you very much, Dave. Thank you very much, and thank you for your condolences and your heartfelt comments. Indeed, we've been receiving a lot of love and passion from all of you and people around the world. Thank you very much. Allow me, David, first to commend our sister Christine for the lovely song full of aspirations in hope, in love. And I be gladly if I can ask our colleagues from the Secretariat really to put that song, the link of that song in our platforms. We need that song to be reached to all our standing committee members and peace lovers around Africa. Thank you very much. Also allowed me to acknowledge His Excellency the Ambassador Gershon Monono, for the Ambassador of the Republic of Cameroon to the AU, Mr. David, big CEO of the Empowerment Institution, my good friend and brother Sandy Jonathan, Peace and Security Cluster, Mr. William Caro, head of the Secretariat, His Excellency Ambassador Mosi, Regional Director of United Religion Initiative in Africa, the African Peace on Earth Zone leaders, and my colleagues, friends from ECOSOCC Standing Committee, General Assembly, and distinguished guests, dear participants, ladies and gentlemen. We're gathered online today to launch the Peace on Earth by 2023 in Africa initiative of the UN International Peace Week. And as part of the series of activities organized or co-organized by ECOSOCC in relation to the Africa Amnesty Months and US Peace Week also. At the very outset, let me appreciate the stewardship role played by Mr. David, the CEO, and our very humble ambassador, Mosi, United Religion Initiatives, together with my brothers, Dr. Sandy, for also putting this activity, co-developing and co-creating this activity within a space of only 1 month, which is itself is quite a remarkable feat. If I go by the draft agenda, being the penultimate speaker that is speaking after my learned colleagues, I feel that a sense of this activity has already been captured. So I would refrain from a long statement, but rather give my blessings to this initiative of this project. As a presiding officer of the ECOSOCC, it's a period of extreme pride for me to see the peace or the pace of which ECOSOCC is being solicited or taking leadership in key contemporary issues on the global scene. in spite all the constraints, especially in terms of human capacity. Let me acknowledge and appreciate and commend also our brothers and sisters in the ECOSOCC Secretariat under the leadership of Mr. William. Incredible team, beacon of hope on the continent in bringing the African populace together on numerous occasions to jointly reflect on Africa's journey toward silencing the guns across the continent. The overreaching aim of the AU is to instill a culture of peace that become restricted to the very fabric of African societies. This entails making peace not just a temporary solution to conflict, but a lasting way of life, deeply ingrained within the hearts and minds of individuals, flourishing within communities through the continent. Our true vision is to create harmonious environments where the principles of understanding, cooperation, and dialogue become a second nature, transforming conflicts into opportunities for growth and unity. ECOSOCC stands fast commitment to nurturing a peace ethics within its diverse populace, demonstrates African dedication to building a future marked by enduring tranquility, not only for itself, but also as an example for the global community. Let me emphasize here that the role of civil society organizations remain crucial, not only if setting the SGT's agenda, but also in creating citizenship awareness, implementing innovative and historic response, and applying pressures that impact the political will, and that's essential. Let's make noise, guys. It's very essential that the world will understand and will become aware that civil society, normal citizens are calling for peace. The promise of this initiative in the peace on earth requires the transformation of people's hearts and minds, emerges from people and their communities, and represent a learned competency of practice that can be cultivated by individuals. It builds up from the UNESCO Constitution preamble, which stated, since wars begun and in the minds of men, it is in the minds of men that defense of peace must be constructed. Very fascinating, really proverb here, loving it. In a nutshell, the key goals of today's initiative is to specify that our mission is to engage African citizens in embracing the game, in embodying its 7 initiative action in their daily lives in communities. Through this, we aim to establish peace on earth zone that will mend the social fabric of communities and promote cooperation for the greater good throughout the African Union member state, serving as a continental-wide beacon. We aspire to be the voice and the vision for achieving peace in Africa by 2023. We aspire also to foster a culture of peace across the continent. We all strategically collaborate with peace organization communities, groups, local and national governments, and influential cultural figures. Additionally, we will contribute to the AU ECOSOCC Silencing the Guns initiative by hosting an annual Peace on Earth by 2023 in Africa conference, featuring the game and the Peace on Earth zone as part of the solution. These zones will also be instrumental in addressing issues of violence, eco-violence, and extremism. Moreover, we will assist nations in political transition and crisis by providing transformative tools. Our ultimate goals is to empower individuals to take meaningful action in their communities, culminating in an annual Africa Peace Day celebration that includes symbolic acts such as lightening the torch of peace, raising the African flags, conducting peace pole ceremonies, recognizing achievement of peace on Earth Zone, continent-wide, celebrating the Ubuntu experience in engaging and mobilizing African musicians, artists, influencers, former politicians, and more through one of ECOSOCC main flagship events. It calls the Caravan of Peace, Dialogue and Integration that has been launched in 2019. And we will share all relevant information about this project. But coming back to today's events, the joint initiative will help us to further the Ubuntu philosophy through honoring, modeling, and sharing Africa's unique cultural heritage with the world. May I also propose the Secretariat to ensure capturing the global online game to become peace on earth by 2023 in Africa. Partners and create peace in Earth Zone across Africa in the first quarter. Work plan in 2023. We will start in 2024 and a very strong message of peace. Kindly, Secretariat, colleagues at the Secretariat, see to it that this is become one of our flagship events, associating all our friends, participants, everyone attending this very important webinar. Let me also end with a very essential message inspired by a very famous global peace messengers. The revered, it calls the revered, the name is just like Mr. Adam Saguru, and I quote, "Peace is the core of existence. We cannot create it. If hyper-intervention is avoided, peace should prevail. And if we do not work for individual transformation, taking about world peace, it's just entertainment." I believe totally right. In short, the Peace on Earth by 2023 in Africa initiative represents a beacon of hope for a continent that has long endured a heavy burden of conflicts. By coinciding with Africa Amnesty Month and the UN International Peace Week, the US Peace Week also gain the momentum and the global attention needed to drive lasting change with strategic partners like all of you, comprehensive strategies and clear performance indicators. We have a roadmap to move peaceful Africa by 2023. Together, we can create a continent where prosperity, human rights, and peace flourish, setting an example for the world to follow. Friends and colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, let us embark on this journey hand in hand to achieve a brighter and more peaceful future for Africa and its citizens. As much as we are all preaching about peace and this or many other platforms, we must all learn that to be peaceful within ourselves first and our immediate environments. It is only then that we can endeavor and build a peace in the peaceful Africa. My peace prevail on earth, and I thank you all for being here with us and participating with us. Thank you very much. To you, Mr. David.
Khalid, thank you so much. I am so grateful for your inspiration, your wisdom, for your imperative, for your instructions to AU ECOSOCC to move the ball forward. So thank you for all of that. So I'm going to just check in with my friend Raj and just see if our ambassador has made it. I know he's been trying. I don't know if he has made it yet. And if he has, we can invite him to speak. And if not, we can move forward. Any news, Raj? Not hearing from you, so I will assume that he's not here yet. Okay, so maybe he'll come at the end, or maybe we'll just have to pass on hearing from him today. So then let me move on, because now we have finished the formal part of our time together. where we hear all these words and inspiration and strategies and affirmations. And we're going to now get into the heart. And I'm going to invite us to enter the heart of Ubuntu. And two of our other music ambassadors, Pato Bantan and Antoinette Roots-Dauta, our Peace on Earth by 2030 music ambassadors, are going to be sharing their beautiful videos on Ubuntu. So we're going to move out of the head into the heart of Africa. And I'm going to share two videos with you, one on the spirit of Ubuntu, and then a music video that sort of lifts that energy into the realm of music. So let me get that organized right now as I share screen. Okay.
Saka zvada kuita panapa ndaona ndiyani kana kumanya mise munogona aiwa ndiyani anogona kumanya zviri fast chaiyo chaiyo simudzai maoko ani iwe unonzani iwe rora unogona kumanya kupfuura munhu wese panapa sure right anoti number 1 pakumanya anopiwa basket rake ega ari 1 mabanana enyu maorange maapple saka tikutanga kubva panapa kumanya kubva panapa kusvika kune muti uyo muombe uyu handi saka vese vada kumhanya usa unozvitemba doti muise line panapa yamirai muline so padhuze nepadhuze straight line saka ninda kutakura basket rangu iri ndanorisa uko pamwe pano mese kusvika handi anotanga kusvika ndiye anopiwa chii basket saka ninda kuenda ndakufana kutungamira
When you realize your family is all of humanity, that's Ubuntu. When you want more peace and unity in your community, that's Ubuntu. When the love and respect I have for you is the same you have for me, that's Ubuntu. Tell all the people near and far, I am because we are, and that's Ubuntu. Listen again. The spirit of Ubuntu. Yeah, man. The spirit of Ubuntu. Yeah, man.
The world is facing numerous challenges today, such as wars, hunger, and diseases that are negatively impacting people around the globe. Despite the many solutions that have been tried without success, there seems to be only one solution, an old African practice that upholds the principle of Ubuntu. I am because we are. This principle emphasizes the importance of working together towards a common goal and recognizing our shared humanity. If we all work together, we can overcome any challenge. The practice of Ubuntu also highlights the idea that we are all responsible for one another. As such, if one person succeeds, we all can and should succeed.
So part one of Ubuntu is this beautiful vision, this beautiful philosophy. My friend Musi has been such an advocate and spoke to it in his beautiful remarks. And Pato and Antoinette are ambassadors of Ubuntu. They traveled across Africa, inspiring people with their music, and all across the world with their music. And I want to share one of their music videos now that takes us into the spirit of Ubuntu. And more to be said about Ubuntu. This is the organizing principle of our work in Africa, and one of the things we want to see the world receive as part of the Peace on Earth by 2030 Africa initiative. It's one of the unique cultural legacies. So let me share another video with you and take you into the music, the Ubuntu music.
Africa, there is something known as Ubuntu. I am because we are. We come together today to renew the ties that make us one. Beyond tribe, beyond community, beyond nation, even beyond the continent.
Naam, ni wakati wa moyo wa utu, Ubuntu, kugusa watu wote wa dunia. Kwa sababu tu watoto wa Mungu mmoja, jamii moja. Amina.
When you realize your family is all of humanity, that's Ubuntu. Ubuntu. When you want more peace and unity in your community, that's Ubuntu. Ubuntu. When the love and respect I have for you is the same you have for me, that's Ubuntu. All the people near and far, I am because we are, and that's Ubuntu. Ubuntu. When we tell them, hey, the spirit of Ubuntu. It's just a way of life, you know. Hey, the spirit of Ubuntu. Yeah, man. You see, this life is like a school. We gotta learn to live the golden rule, treating our brothers and our sisters how we want to be treated too. Ooh, when I say namaste, the God in this is the God in you. Jesus said we are all your children and told us to go and spread the good news right now. Ubuntu is incredible, exceptional and ethical, mystical and spiritual, theoretical and practical. In times like this so critical, we need a higher principle to make compassion mutual, make respect reciprocal. When things become intentional and war is unacceptable, our blessings will be plentiful, life will be so wonderful. All for one and one for all people. Can you hear the call? It's time to tell the world about Ubuntu. When you realize your family, it's all of humanity. That's Ubuntu. Ubuntu. When you want more peace and unity, hey, in your community, that's Ubuntu. Ubuntu. When the love and respect I have for you is the same you have for me, that's Ubuntu. Tell all the people near and far, I am because we are, and that's Ubuntu. Ubuntu. We sing again.
kuwaguza watu wote wa dunia, kwa sababu sote tu watoto wa Mungu mmoja, jamii moja. Amen.
Beautiful, Pato. Thank you, Antoinette. Thank you for your presence through this beautiful music and your blessings that you are offering Africa and the world through your music and your spirit. Thank you so much. So we are going to move on the adventure. And I now have the great privilege of introducing our Africa Peace on Earth Zone leaders who are with us to share their stories of how they are transforming the people and their communities across 4 parts of Africa. But first, a little background on the genesis of these Peace on Earth Zones. They grow out of a 12-year history of an initiative called Imagine, that my lovely wife, who's on this call, Gail Straub, and her colleague, Teresa McGarren, have been painstakingly moving forward for over a full decade and beyond. There's now 24 NGO partners across 8 countries: Kenya, Nigeria, Rwanda, South Africa, Ghana, Morocco, Tunisia, and Egypt. We've trained almost 100 trainers to lead this empowerment work that is at the foundation of this Women's Empowerment Initiative. 36,000 people have been trained. They've impacted almost 1 million people directly and almost 10 million indirectly. We're also doing this work in India, Jordan, and Afghanistan. And so this is the foundation. The 4 people that you'll hear from were originally part of the Imagine Initiative, working on personal agency. And then they have evolved the work into community agency with the Peace on Earth Zones. And just to give you a little feel for this empowerment foundation to the work of the Peace on Earth Zones and the game, I'm going to share a video, and I'm going to invite back via this video our dear Kristen Hoffman again. Maybe this will make it onto the African Union ECOSOCC website as well. It is worth putting in lots of places. This is a video called I Am Woman, and it gives you a feel for some of the women. You'll see all the women that we will be hearing from in a few minutes, and many others, as we have a chance now to experience what's powerful, what's possible when powerful women say yes. So let me now just get that organized.
I am woman, I am grace, I am oneness, I am faith, I am mother, sister, soul, I am present, I am whole, I am peaceful, I am calm, I am love and I belong, I'm supported in my dreams by my empowered family. Human agency, spark that lights our destiny, and I hold the strength in me to imagine and create the life I see. I can live and I can breathe, I can share the best of me, I can learn and I can grow, I can teach and I can know, I can nurture and receive, I can love, I can believe, I can build community with my empowered family. human agency is the spark that lights our destiny. And I hold the strength in me to imagine and create the life I see. To imagine and create the life I see.
So, thank you, Kristen. Thank you, all the beautiful people who were in that video. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Mary Alice, Thelma, Fatima Zara. Thank you. Am I missing Letitia? All the 4 women who'll be hearing from in a moment. So let me now just introduce our first Peace Center Zone leader, who you saw in this video, Mary Alice Anayura, who was the founder of the SVAC Community Development NGO in Kenya, has been a Peace Center Zone leader now for a number of years, has been with us through the Imagine Initiative for almost all, if not all, of its existence. So she is a teacher of empowerment, and she is now empowering her community with the game and the Peace Center Zone model. So if we could have Mary Alice come on and share a little bit about her journey creating her Peace Center Zone. And thank you, Mary Alice. So grateful to have you here today. You are muted. You need to unmute.
Thank you, David, and hi, everyone. Thank you for having me. Okay, as it has said, I am one of the PO Zone leaders. In the first round of our game, I led a team of 6 teams of 33 players. We took 131 actions together. We befriended 3,335 people and overall influenced 20,932, 12,000 of them all living within the same estate in one community. Then in carrying out Action 7 to the cafe, we invited about 60 people because we couldn't cater for more. But we had an overwhelming response and ended up with about 106, all of whom committed to playing the game. Interestingly, one of the earlier 33 players was a pastor, and he was also a team leader. And to the cafe, he invited a fellow pastor. This fellow pastor happened to be from a neighboring county. And he was so impressed at the cafe with the Peace on Earth by 2030 work. He attended the empowerment workshop that David has, the agency building workshop that David has referred to, and in turn invited other pastors and a bishop. And now we have a natural diffusion into the neighboring country, which just makes me see my vision rolling out before my very eyes. it was my vision that we should spread the Peace on Earth by 2030 activity into other sub-counties. I am in the sub-county of Butula, in the county of Busia, in the western part of Kenya. But through this one pastor, we have gone into a new and planned county, and that is natural diffusion, and has made me really very excited, because one of the players is a bishop with an outreach to other pastors and bishops throughout the whole of Siaya County. So I'm very, very excited. But at a personal level, the Peace on Earth work has really changed me. I have been in the empowerment work for almost 12 years. But my personality has been that of, I get what I want when I want it. I am quite aggressive, not violent, but in taking action. But I've realized that through the peace work, I have become calmer, more focused, more intentional in safeguarding my inner peace. And I have realized that this has made me improve my personal relationships with others, which is the first step to creating a lasting peace, because you cannot give others what you do not have. You can only give them what you have. And if you have that deep inner peace, it naturally diffuses to others. And I am glad and all those who are still playing in the sub-county of Butula, where I am leading now a group of 90 players from the original 33. We have 90 players, 14 team leaders, and they are all very enthusiastic, especially our youth. Just to mention some practical activities, in round one, the most touching one was when two players in different areas reached out to homeless, mentally unstable people in a market, people who might normally eat even from the garbage, befriended them and made others see them in a different light. And eventually this sick, mentally ill person agreed to go to hospital for treatment. And as we speak, he has been reintegrated into the community. And the market, Murumba, now regards other mentally ill people with a lot of care and compassion. And that was very touching. Players, I will just pick from the new county of Siaya. One lady in Action 1 had sworn never to do business again because she had failed and people she trusted had let her down. But in working with her through that challenge, we call it her growing age, she undertook to try again. And I was just informed by somebody else, not her, I have not spoken to her yet, that she has actually opened that gas station. I'm very, very proud of her. Another pastor who thought his church was too poor to do anything for others, and he should just depend on the offerings that people bring every Sunday, actually organized his congregation to clean up and establish hand washing points in a big market, in a large market. Now, when the traders realized that the church was doing this for them, they organized themselves and now they buy their own liquid soap for hand washing. They don't look at the government because they pay taxes and they ought to be given washing bays with soap. They are doing it for themselves. Talk about second order change. There is so much more that I would wish to share, but because of lack of time, I just want to say that peace on earth by 2030 is possible because it begins in our own hearts. And from our heart, when we truly have it, we can give it to everyone else. I just want to encourage all those other players that peace on earth by 2030 is possible. Go for it. Everyone is longing for this peace, and they only need somebody to guide them into it. Thank you all very much. I am very grateful that so many have attended. Thank you.
Mary Alice, thank you. What beautiful stories and what a beautiful representation of leadership you are, and so beautiful to hear about your personal transformation through the game. It is true that you are a transformed person. I see it in you. I feel it in you. It's beautiful. I'm happy you shared your personal story. So we're going to move on, and I'm going to invite Letitia Permal from South Africa, who represents two entities, the University of the Western Cape. She'll talk about how young students in her university are engaged in the game. And she'll also talk about her experience of the impact of the game on the campus and the community at large. Some beautiful things that are happening there. Tisha's been with us a long time also, I think some 10 years or thereabouts, and comes out of the Imagine Empowerment work as well. She's also the head of an NGO called Gabanga. So Letitia, let us hear from you, your experience of being a Peace Center Zone leader.
Thank you so much, David. It's such an honor to be here this evening. My journey started with the collaboration between Nabanga Foundation, which I co-founded with my daughter, and the University of the Western Cape, which started, it's still a public university for historically disadvantaged students from across Africa. It was called Bush College and the intellectual home of the left. And it's a testament to the profound influence of this program within our university. I think the unique integration of Peace on Earth by 2030 into our co-curricular offering has really ignited a powerful transformative experience and has inspired students who participated in the game to really become active agents of change. I think one of the most compelling narratives to emerge from this journey is how the Peace on Earth by 2030 game has become a catalyst for profound shifts in our student community. It's not just a game, it's a dynamic platform that has really empowered our students who call themselves the Ubuntu Peace Igniters to use the game actions to envision and actively work towards a campus for peace as a microcosm of society. On the 16th of May 2023, International Day of Living Together in Peace, just a week after the tragic murder of one of our students that resulted in protests on our campus, the Ubuntu Peace Igniters collaborated with our UNESCO Chair for Sport, Peace and Education and planned a campus walk for peace as part of Action 3, the Unitive Impulse, celebrating our shared humanity. This event was not just symbolic, but it was a powerful demonstration of the UWC community coming together in a collective commitment to unity and peace, even in the face of turmoil and grief. The Walk for Peace served as a symbol of unity and resilience. Students and staff demonstrated the transformative power of the experiences in a moment of profound sorrow and unrest, when it would have been easy for emotions to escalate into conflict and division. The Ubuntu Peace Igniters and the protesting students chose a different path. They observed the walk for peace with profound respect and peace, demonstrating the incredible power of the unitive impulse and our shared humanity. The Peace on Earth students brought groups together later to reflect on the loss and how the students' legacy could be used to inspire possibility. This transformation, born out of the Peace on Earth by 2030 experience, redirected the course of events and led to reconciliation rather than division. Our Ubuntu Peace Igniters and their peers embodied the principles they had learned, proving that peace is not just an abstract concept, but a living reality that we can choose to cultivate and nurture within ourselves and share with others in the world. One of our leaders from 2022 has now been appointed as a PO mentor to other leaders, and he's played a very integral part in modeling peace as well as the development of the Peace Sanctuary. And this is the next tangible and heartfelt outcome of our participation in the game. Action for better together, cooperation for the common good. We have co-created a peace sanctuary on our campus. It is not merely an artifact of the game, it's a living embodiment of the values and the principles that we embrace. And so it's been born out of our collective commitment again to peace. And it's the first in the history of the university, and it finds its essence in experiences and lessons that are embraced by our students. And it will foster the importance of becoming still and connecting with the divine in a sacred, safe space. And it stands as a tangible reminder of our shared journey, radiating hope for the future and integrating our university motto, from hope to action through knowledge. Since 2022, 11 teams have participated in the game with a total of 65 players. Collectively, they've taken 455 actions and befriended 926 people, directly impacting 3,100 within the university community, which is 12% of our student population. Personally, I believe that being at peace meant to remain quiet and avoid conflict. But through the Empowerment and Peace on Earth by 2030 game, I learned that I needed to confront my anger, my pain, my grief as a doorway to peace. And my husband and I now begin and end each day in prayer and a blessing to each other. Peace be with you. So as I reflect on this journey, I'm reminded that the true power of peace on earth by 2030 lies not only in the goals, but in the hearts and the actions of those who embrace it. I see myself as an ambassador for peace, and our youth, the Peace Igniters, the Ubuntu Peace Igniters, are becoming these ambassadors of peace, showing that a commitment to positive change can create a ripple effect, not just transforming individuals, but entire communities. And so in the context of this Peace on Earth by 2030 initiative, I think UWC is an example of the transformative potential of peace. Nobel Peace Laureate Archbishop Desmond Tutu's 25-year tenure as our Chancellor probably sowed the seed of UWC as a beacon of hope and peace in Africa. And our story is one of hope, unity, and an unwavering belief that through collective effort, peace on earth by 2030 can be achieved. The walk for peace, the creation of the Peace Sanctuary, and the unwavering resilience of our students in the face of adversity, I don't believe it's just chapters in our story. I think they are the powerful potential that's unleashed when peace is embodied and becomes our guiding light. Thank you, David, Gail, and the Imagine team for lighting and sharing your torch for peace on earth by 2030. Peace be with you all. Thank you.
Amazing, Letitia. I'm tearing up hearing all that. You've done so good You are such a role model. I know you're also now working on an initiative with your colleague who is the UNESCO chair to spread it to universities across Africa. So those that might have interest in this in universities, do reach out to us. We'll put you in touch with Letitia. I think we can show how young people can really become the leaders. We know that they are the future leaders. Let them become the leaders now at the university scale and let them show the world. You modeled it so beautifully. Thank you, my dear friend, for your great work. Touched. So we have our next Peace on Earth Zone leader. I think she's been having some challenges with her internet, and I'm wondering, Thelma, if you have your internet connection okay now. If you do, we'd love to hear from you. I'm going to put you on spotlight and introduce you if you are ready to go. Is your internet okay? Looks like it is. You're muted.
Okay.
Perfect. Let me just introduce you first. So this is Thelma Orleans Thompson. She is from Ubuntu. And Ubuntu is a leading NGO in Ghana, Ubuntu for Development. She's been with us for many years. She's done some amazing work in Ghana, and particularly with tribal leaders, and she'll share some of her story with you. It's been a pleasure going on this journey with you, and you're an inspiration. So tell us a little bit about your experience of your Peace on Earth Zone, Thelma.
Okay. Thank you very much, David, the initiator of Post Zones. And thank you, everyone. And I'm so privileged to be part of this evening. What I would want to share is how come Ubuntu became part of Post Zone. Though we've been part of Imagine program. And the background, a brief background, is that Ubuntu has been working with other partners such as World Vision in communities to bring about development where women play a very key role. And we realized that in one of the districts, that is Ewutu Senya district, Ubuntu is working in 20 communities. And us looking at these communities to really take lead in their own development, we realized there were two communities, that is Oshimpo and Ayonsiakon, that were actually not seeing any progress in whatever we were doing. So we're actually wondering what was happening. And after investigation, we realized that there were some conflicts between the two traditional leaders. And it was all because they were brothers. But then due to education, that was around 1800, when they moved into that area, one of the brothers got to the area first, and apparently asked the brother to sign the document for the area because the brother was educated. And later, the brother took upon himself as the leader of both communities. So that has been a conflict between them. So we tried what would be the solution for this. And when David shared with us, going forward on Post Zones, whether we were interested, immediately I said yes, because I realized that was the medication for what we were going through. So we said, yes, I have these communities that are having traditional conflict amongst them, and it's actually not helping with the work that we are doing. So we would want to pilot in those communities. And lo and behold, when we started, we realized that the chiefs that were part of this conflict, we intentionally brought them on board as part of the leaders, as part of the Post Zone groups. And we started with 30 people in 6 groups. So these traditional leaders were part of it. And by the time we finished with the training in the game, how it would go, they themselves told us that they realized it was something that was really going to transform the communities. So we said, wow. So working with my partner from World Vision, we decided to play the games with them. So now we have 60 players, and where they also bring on board other people to support in some of the actions. So we have over 300 people. I mean, for the two main pool zones, they have over 300 people that have been coming on board for the actions. And some of the stories that we can share is they themselves told us that personally, they realized that they have changed, because we realized a lot of them were having personal conflicts amongst even the people. Apart from the traditional people, they were having factions. So one person wouldn't talk to the other. If something happens, there's a conflict. So they themselves said, okay, because of Action 1, you need to sort of do something, bring on board, befriend somebody you have never befriended. And they started to befriend people they were not talking with, people they had not, I mean, for a long time. It could be even a conflict or not talking to them from their parents. And they are still, all the entire family would have issues with each other. So they started individually, and then they realized it was really helping them. And then, as all the previous speakers have said, we believe that as we have through empowerment, when you look at the individual agency where it is empowered and you bring it together as a community agency, then you see transformation among people. So it's not just about the individual. So we realize that as they themselves are recognizing within their hearts that they were feeling free internally because they were letting go and now bringing people on board as peacemakers, they themselves were realizing that. And because of that, what we can say that when we're doing Action 3, they came together to, there was this community, how do you call it, where they said to have their meetings. So a community center that was broken. Initially, the chief wouldn't get anybody to come on board to work on that. But after playing the game, they themselves came together as a people, one people. And normally during Tuesday, they don't go to the farm. So they come together and then they work. So now they came together to do that work. They have come together as a people to clean the community. And the chiefs themselves are now leading this kind of communal labor. And the chiefs told us it is really helping them because they realized coming together to work as a people, the effort is so effortless. I mean, together they are able to do something. So now for the two chiefs, the chief for Oshimpo and Ayensuakon, we have been intentional to bring them together during programs. And we have observed that gradually they are able to talk to one another and they are able to move forward with their own development. And it has really given us Ubuntu and World Vision. We would say we are relieved because we also see Oshimpo now taking and leading their own development. So what we have learned is that post zone or peace is one of the pillars, I mean the strong pillars that development hinges on. So where there is no peace, you can actually not find development. And we believe that in Ghana and Africa as a whole, we need development. And it should come from the people. It should come from the grassroots. And as they see themselves coming together as one people, they are able to do that. So this is our story that we can share. And for me, as a leader, a post-zone leader, I've also been transformed because initially, when I played the game and we were supposed to also befriend others, I realized within my vicinity where I live, there are a lot of people around me whom I wouldn't talk to. But because of the game, I started engaging these people. And I was able to bring together some young people within an area to address some of the area challenges. So Pozone is one thing that I myself, going forward, between my partner and myself, we have decided that we would want to take it further to even the universities or where you have young people, because we realize that when you catch them young, we wouldn't have enough to talk about when they are grown up. So we would want to really engage them at the younger ages so that they will be able to understand when we stay in peace with each and every one. Then when you have peace within and it comes out, it reflects, it's like a light. So it reflects to others around us. And together we can really enjoy the country or the world that God has given to us. So this is our story from Ghana. Thank you all so much.
Beautiful, Thelma. I love the story. I love how it's transforming some of the things that have created so much diversity, not diversity, but division. So beautiful, your story, and I'm so happy that it has transformed you and your relationships with others and your family. So thank you for your magnificent work. You're a role model to so many. Thank you.
Thank you, team.
So we have one more to hear from, a Pozone leader from Morocco. Now we have East Africa, we have West Africa, we have South Africa, and now we have North Africa. Fatima Zahra Larabi unfortunately can't be with us. As I mentioned earlier, she is running the earthquake relief. Where this earthquake took place was literally the epicenter of the earthquake was in this Peace on Earth zone. She's also been doing work there for many, many years. So she's in the heart of this relief support. The Peace on Earth zone itself is a place that is now able to be of service. So it's a beautiful thing that all the good work and empowerment work and all these people can now be part of this relief. So I'm going to share a video of her telling her story of her Peace on Earth zone in Morocco. And then we'll start to bring closure after that on our time. We'll probably be running a little over, not probably, we'll be running a little over. So those of you that can stay, please do. Probably about 15 minutes or so extra. So let me get this video set up.
My name is Fatima Zahra Laribi. I'm representing High Atlas Foundation in Marrakesh, Morocco. And now I'm leading Peace on Earth in Morocco, specifically in the area in the Atlas Mountains, where High Atlas Foundation actually works. So to answer your question, Mr. David, about why do I create the Peace on Earth zone, actually, I will answer this question in two levels. The first one is personal. So what motivates me to create this peace on zone, this space zone, peace on earth, sorry, zone is the realization or the observation that everyone talks about peace, but no one actually teaches peace. And I found that the Peace on Earth game components offer the experience to experience actions of peace and witness the journey towards peace, and we learn from it. And for me, the Peace on Earth game is a life changer. I feel a deep desire for my community to return and commit to actions of peace, including cooperation and oneness to achieve gender equality. I use the word return because it is also rooted in our culture and in the Islamic faith, but unfortunately has challenged over the past decade. And my ultimate goal is to have unified community where both youth and adult and all genders advocate making peace in and making it as a reality by 2030. And professionally speaking, I would say that High Atlas Foundation created Peace on Zone Earth because have advocate for gender equality through women's empowerment and girls empowerment, and have advocate to have like to put it in our organization goals and improving women's rights in Morocco based on the empowerment methods aligned with the Islamic precepts or principles. And High Atlas Foundation aim to combine like human rights to promote like personal growth and socioeconomic to enable women to be independent. And it's important to note that gender is not only for women issues, but a human issue, as everyone knows. And achieving women's rights development guarantee basic human rights for all people. And for me, I would like youth and adults of all genders must unite and advocate for stronger, healthier, and more peaceful society. I can see also that peace is a way of living together to achieve like the unity of community that everyone can accomplish their human rights. And the High Atlas Foundation conducted like many empowerment workshops for cooperatives. And I will make like the Peace on Earth zone in these areas. And it will be more suitable because if women financially independent, they will be create like more peace and for the community as a whole. The reasons behind why do we create peace in our community. So my Peace on Earth zone is located in the area of Ourika Valley in the province of Al Hawz, Marrakesh region, Morocco, and it is a small town with the community, rural communities, and it's 60 kilometers from the city of Marrakesh on the footstep of the Atlas Mountains. Yeah. Like to share my vision as well. So my vision is to create like a peaceful zone where both men and women are living in harmony. Moreover, I aim for a community where children are raised in a healthy and peaceful environment. And I wish to see people starting peace within themselves before aiming for peace for their community. Then ultimately across the country. And I firmly believe that Peace on Earth game will make a difference because it provides community with the tools that empower both men and women to live in harmony. And I really want to see new qualities that we experience in the game. For example, the cooperation, oneness, love, solidarity between men and women. And I think High Atlas Foundation will provide or will offer the appropriate condition for the community to be able to address like its issues in very effective ways.
Beautiful. Thank you, Fatima Zahra. I'm sorry you couldn't make it today, but your words are so strong and you're so clear and you're so powerful as a woman. I'm very touched by your vision and that you are such an advocate for women's empowerment in your country, and you are doing such beautiful work in the healing and the transformation of people in the parts of the world that are right now suffering a lot. So very, very grateful. Okay, so that is Peace on Earth Zones Meet Africa. That is Imagine evolving into Peace on Earth Zones. That is a model of the possible. And we are going to be inviting many, 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 many people, many NGOs, civil society organizations to create Peace on Earth Zones. At the very end, I'll provide some links so that you can take the next steps and start teams and also learn how to join the global online game and also start Peace on Earth Zones and become a Peace on Earth partner. We've seen many requests to be partners in the chat. So we'll give you a lot of information on how to do that. So let me now just take a quick moment to just move to our very next step. 1 second here, just let me close this thing out. Yeah, there we go. 1 second. Yeah, okay. So what I want to do now is I want to invite Kristen. Actually, no, what I'd like to do now is just take a quick moment. Our keynote speaker, Ambassador Churchill, Mbubu Manono from Cameroon, who's a permanent representative to the African Union political body and the current chair of its Peace and Security Council, has offered his regrets, but he's provided me with an extract of his speech, a very short extract, which I'll read to you. So we have the benefit. He is the senior most political leader right now involved with our work. And so we want to hear his voice, and we're very pleased to have direct access to the African Union political body. So here are a few of his words, and then we'll close with Kristen's music and then next steps. Yesterday, we celebrated the World Peace Day. Peace, peace, peace. This is all what everyone wants. This is what the world needs, and we all are cognizant that the very existence of the human race is hugely dependent on peace. Why is it so difficult to have a peaceful world? For a peaceful world, we need to start loving one another. Love is the seed from which peace will germinate. We need the power of love to overcome the love of power. But everyone on this meeting should start the day by being more caring and loving towards one another. Lucy, sounds like he's your brother. Besides being a diplomat, I am also a writer, now we know, and a philosopher. So I've allowed the writer to provide the voice of the writer. But let's come back to today's initiative. Today, it's my privilege to launch the Peace on Earth by 2030 in Africa initiative of the UN International Peace Week. This initiative envisions to create peace on earth by 2030 in Africa and demonstrate Africa's global leadership in creating peace in the world. The concept of the global online game to become peace on earth by 2030 in Africa and to partner and create peace in our zones across Africa is also a novel initiative, an original concept, which teaches us that peace is also possible while playing. Life is meant for living and not for fighting. When we think how guns and arms are in abundance, but yet food and water are scarce in many parts of the world, that's scaring. Life is meant for living and not for fighting. We all know that when elephants fight, it's the ants which suffer, directly or indirectly. It's humanity which suffers. I believe that peace is not a utopian concept, but to achieve that stage, we all need to shed the greed in us and care. You may wish, okay, yes. So that is are his sentiments. Thank you, Ambassador, for your kind words. And we will now move on to Kristen. And Kristen will close our time. Actually, let me just do one more thing before we invite Kristen to close, which is to just say a few things about next steps. So those of you that wish to engage can do that, and then we'll hear from Kristen. So Carlin, please put in the chat, if you would, our events page so people can know how to participate in our October 11th information meeting, where we'll talk about the game and how to participate. We'll also talk about how to create peace on earth zones. If you look in the chat, you'll see how to go and sign up for that Zoom meeting. There'll also be more to come at the very, very end. Jonathan and Musi and myself will offer our final remarks on immediate next steps, but we're now going to be consolidating and moving forward some of the agenda we talked about today. And but I think immediately the next step is just come to the October 11th event, reach out to us. Also, Carlin, if you could put in the chat the info link so people can reach out if they have questions or want to partner or any other way want to participate and be with us. Okay, So back to Kristen for round 3. And she will offer another beautiful song, a very special song. So Kristen, if you would.
Oh, well, this has been beyond inspiring. My heart feels open and in love
One
with
second,
you.
Kristen, we need to spotlight you. I think I've given him another job, but I don't think I want to have the one that everyone sees when you sing. There we go.
Here I am. Here I am. Well, I'm deeply inspired. My heart feels open and in love with you all, and really re-encoded with that feeling that peace is possible, that peace is here now, and that we're holding that vision and seeing it in the world for 2030, by 2030. And to celebrate and really seal it all in on the emotional levels, I'm going to share the official anthem for the Peace on Earth by 2030 game and movement. This is called Welcome to the Golden Age. And as David first said when we talked about this piece, we are ushering in this golden age of peace. And as we practice these 7 actions for peace on earth, we are literally lifting ourselves up into this golden age prophecy. So blessings and enjoy. Welcome to the golden age. High frequency our DNA, anchored in our will to shine, with peace on earth our guiding light. Our initiation has begun, so close your eyes, heartbeat as one. We are one. Transformation is now. Feel the sun, golden light shining down. When we dream as one, we hold the key to evolve. See as one, unconditional love. Welcome to the golden age, where presence is the only place, an opportunity to thrive in harmony with all of life. Any obstacle is overcome, hand in hand, heartbeat as one. We are one. Transformation is now. Feel the sun, golden light shining down. When we dream as one, we hold the key to evolve. See as one, unconditional love. Faith and oneness, unity, abundance, love. Oh, love. Empowerment is raising and cooperation. Oh, oh. Faith and oneness, unity, abundance, love. Oh, love. Empowerment
Hmm.
Hmm.
Well, I think I made it this time without crying.
I just want to say that this song officially came out worldwide yesterday, and you can find it in your favorite online stores, Spotify. It might take a few days to emerge in all the online stores, but it has been distributed, and I'm going to put a link in the chat where you can go and actually download the song. Oops. I sent it to someone direct, but hold on 2 seconds. I'm going to put this link in the chat, and you can download the song for free here. If you just put 0 in the field that asks for a donation, just put 0, and then you can get a free download of the song and enjoy it over and over again, hopefully. But just
Every
really
day, it's a song that inspires. It's the vision of peace on earth by 2030. It's how we got there and what it looks like when we're there. Brilliant. Thank you. The golden age, the teacher of the golden age, the singer of the golden age. Bless you, dear Kristen.
Oh, David, thank you for your great vision and for holding this incredible vision and container of peace for us, with us, inspiring us really to be the ones we've been waiting for now and really step into our unique roles as carriers of peace. And we each have our own unique gift and way to share. And I'm just so grateful for you, David. Thank you.
And likewise, Kristen. So we're going to just ask our partners for final closing remarks. So let us start now with Jonathan, Sandy, if you are with us, if you want to just share any final remarks on our adventure today and going forward, feel free.
Yes, David.
So if we could just spotlight, sorry, I think you are spotlighted. Good, yes. No, I'm still spotlighted. Carlin, if you could spotlight Jonathan, that would be good before I start to speak. So you hear him and
yes, yes, David. Hello, hi, David.
Hi, we still have me. So let me get Carlin. I think you may be doing so. There we go. Perfect.
Yes, yes. Let me start by thanking you, Christine. I think you just touched our souls and emotions, especially at this time when we are all yearning for love and peace and compassion. I think that song I will have to immediately download before I go to my next meeting, family meeting, in memory of our late dad. But very touching about the music we had and all the inspirational stories, the beautiful stories we had from Ghana, from South Africa, Morocco, and all across the world, in clear demonstration of how simple models, simple approaches that are community-driven can help us build the art we want, a peaceful art, the art that we want to see, which the peace on Earth zone have been demonstrated excessively. I'm sure, as we have all agreed, and based on the next step, this is a concept and practice that we have to roll out, especially in areas where we continue to face conflict and dispute, where we have identity politics in particular, where tribes and regions do compete either into the electoral space, because elections have become highly contested at local level, at community level, at national level, especially what we call identity politics, politics of identity. And how can we use the Peace on Earth model to facilitate what I may call managing identity and diversity through inclusive community social cohesion. So I'm very grateful that we have started this joining. The launch is not going to be stopped here. It is something, as the presiding officer of ECOSOCC did say, and all of us have said, we will enroll this. And in fact, I'm sure I see a number of members who have their NGOs and civil society across our different member states are still online. And I also see colleagues in the African Union, especially those working on the continental early warning system, and how do we explore the Peace on Earth initiative as a vehicle for enhancing community early warning and conflict resolution mechanism. So I'm very grateful again, David and Ambassador Musin, for the partnership we are evolving, and I hope that we can rationalize this well, and then we can attain the objective of peace on earth by 2030, with Africa leading the globe to enhance that prosperity. So thank you once more on behalf of our cluster and the African Union ECOSOCC General Assembly members. We wish you a pleasant evening and a nice weekend. Let's continue to celebrate the month of the Amnesty Month on Silence in the Gun. I'm sure there are one or two other events before the end of the month. So thank you and God bless. Good night.
Jonathan, thank you again. My heart is out to you and your family, and I'm happy this gave you a little lift in this moment of grief. So Ambassador Musi, Hailu, if you wish to say a few final thoughts, I think you may be listening on WhatsApp. You may not even be able to be with us.
No, I listen. Yeah, I'm here. David.
Okay, fantastic. Please offer us any final reflections, if you would.
Let me just wave my hand, otherwise I will be disconnected again because of the connection network.
Oh, you're on. Okay, Carlin, we got to put him on.
Yeah, I will be disconnected. Yeah. So,
one second, Musi. Let's see if we can spotlight you. I think he has to find you first, and then we can spotlight you. Otherwise, you look at me and you hear Musi, which is, we're pretty one, so that's probably okay. But if you can get him, Carlin, that would be great.
There's a connection problem with the video.
Yeah, there's a video problem.
Oh, okay. Then just have him spotlighted with his name.
Thank you. Yeah. Again, once again, on behalf of URI and AU ECOSOCC and Empowerment Institute, my gratitude to all of you who participate actively and help to make this launching event successful. We have a long way to go. Therefore, let us walk the talk by taking practical action to make into reality peace on earth by 2030. As the saying goes, alone we can go fast, but together we can go far. So let's work together as citizens of the world in close partnership, in the spirit of Ubuntu, in the spirit of team building, to create a culture of peace, justice and healing and harmony and unity and the preservation of Mother Earth. May peace prevail in our mind, in our heart, in our family, in our community, and throughout the world. Thank you.
Thank you, my brother and friend, Musi. So I will just end with a moment. Just invite us all, close our eyes and see peace on earth by 2030 in Africa. We have gotten there. It is now a reality. This is a place in the world that has shown the world that this dream can be, that it is more than possible. It has happened. We are there. What does it feel like? Allow it into your heart. What do people look like when you see them walking in that place of being in peace with themselves and with others around them and communities operating from that place? Allow that in. What does it look like with Africa as a beacon of light to the world? Africa, the place that has had many conflicts, now showing the world what's possible. Africa, a place where the need has been transformed into something that everyone has dreamed about, but did not have the impetus, the drive that Africa has to make it a reality. A place where the institutions are so ready to engage. So let us just see peace on earth in Africa now as the new possibility for humanity, for our enlightenment as a civilization. It is absolutely possible. It is absolutely possible. Why not Africa? Why not Africa leading the world? We're better than Africa. So with that said, dear friends, I hope to see many of you over the next month who want to participate and help make that dream very practical and very real in your communities and your lives. Thank you everyone who's participated, all the speakers, Kristen, the musicians, Pato, Antoinette, Jonathan, Musi, all our friends from the African Union, all of you that spent your day with us, your evening with us, I might say. Bless you all. May peace prevail on earth by 2030 or sooner. Thank you all. Be well.